What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin. Just a heads up, we are going to be live on this channel tomorrow night, Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be talking about everything Red Sox related, and boy, now do we have a lot to talk about. Again, that is tomorrow night, Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern time on this channel. Anyways, this is our second video today. The first video I put out was about Carlos Correa and possibly a Red Sox signing, something like that, a targeting of Carlos Correa. 2 hours later, Carlos Correa gets signed. Now, this video is not a happy video. In fact, it is a very, very not happy video. I don't even know what to describe this as, because in 2022, the main theme of the Boston Red Sox was untimely injuries. And I thought going into 2023, that problem was behind us, but it appears that it is already affecting the 2023 Boston Red Sox, because it was announced today that Trevor Story was going to miss a significant amount of time due to a surgery that he just had. So what we are going to do today is we are going to break down what Trevor Story's injury was, how it's going to affect his game, when we can expect him back, and we're going to talk about how this is going to affect the Red Sox off-season plans as well as the Red Sox 2023 regular season. But before I get into that, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. Helps these videos out a ton and would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. Okay, so let's start by talking about what the actual surgery Trevor Story had was and what timetable it may be before he comes back. The actual surgery itself was a UCL surgery where you're essentially putting a brace around the UCL. It's basically sort of a modified Tommy John surgery. According to Jeff Passan, it is a surgery where instead of taking the ligaments out of your elbow and replacing it with entirely new ligaments, you're essentially putting a brace around that UCL to prevent further tearing. It is a much shorter time to come back than an actual Tommy John surgery, which is normally almost an entire MLB season, right? Especially if you get in the off season. A UCL tear, you're probably back June, July, August, somewhere around there at the best case scenario. This one's a little bit different. It is 4 to 6 months. So I guess what I'm saying here is that if there's anything positive to take away from this Trevor Story surgery, it's the fact that, hey, it's not Tommy John surgery, so it's going to be a little less time he's going to spend on the DL because of that reason. Now, if we're looking at the timetable that I just spoke of, 4 to 6 months, which is what most people are saying is the timetable for an injury like this, you probably are going to take the average of those months, which would be about 5 months, meaning that most realistically, we are probably going to see Trevor Story make a return mid-May, right? Now, that's the average. So on average, he's probably going to miss about a month and a half to 2 months of this MLB season. Best case scenario here is that it's only 4 months of recovery time and Trevor Story only misses a couple weeks to a month of the MLB season. And the worst case scenario, and God help us if it's the worst case scenario, he does not come back until mid to late June, and he misses at minimum 2.5 months of this Red Sox season. Now, my biggest question with this whole thing is how long did the Red Sox know about his injury? Because this is not something that just springs up out of the ground. That's a complete surprise to everybody, right? There's a process that goes into getting to a surgery. You have to get your initial consultation with a doctor who tells you what's wrong and then refers you to a surgeon. That surgeon's got to give you a consultation, tell you what he's going to do. Then you have to schedule the surgery, and then you have to finally get the surgery. There's no way in that time frame that the Boston Red Sox were not notified at all. And so my question is, how long have they known this information? Because this is something that makes the Bogart situation look way worse, right? You lost Bogarts, now you're losing Trevor Story for a significant amount of time. At best case scenario, a month and a half here, and you still let Xander Bogaerts walk. I have to completely question that decision because that makes absolutely no sense. If you knew about Trevor Story, why are you letting Bogaerts go? Why were you not more proactive in the shortstop market? But hey, I guess we'll never know the answer to that question. I highly doubt the Red Sox are going to publicly say how aware of this injury they were. But either way, as for the injury itself, again, it is a UCL, essentially a brace put into his arm so it does not tear further. And we could probably expect Trevor Story out for 5-6 months. Now, again, that's not in the regular season. We're probably looking at best case scenario here, a couple of weeks to a couple of months with no Trevor Story on this Red Sox team. So, how does this affect this Red Sox team? What does this mean for this Red Sox off season? Well, I'll tell you what, it's not good. It does not affect the Red Sox in a good way in any way at all, really. Like I said in the intro, I truly thought that, hey, we couldn't get much more injury prone than 2022, right? Everyone spent time on the IL. I felt like we were playing with AA players at one point, but going into 2023, I had high hopes that that was not going to happen, and so far, not looking good. There are a couple of options for the Red Sox here on the table, and all of these have now become imperative because you lost Xander Bogaerts, your shortstop, and the idea was, hey, you lose Xander, that sucks, we all hate it, but we do have a replacement if need be in Trevor Story. Now you don't have Trevor Story at all, which means you don't have a second baseman, you don't have a shortstop, you have no middle infielders on this team, at least with guys who can play every single day. So how does this affect the Red Sox offseason? It makes getting a middle infielder pretty much top priority at this point. We would love to get a starting pitcher, but you need a full team on the field. And if you don't have a shortstop or a second baseman, that makes it pretty hard to do. I'm not very good at math, but I know missing 2 full positions on the field is not a good way to field a team. There are a couple of options to fill this second base shortstop position. The first is you either have Christian Arroyo play second or shortstop, and you have either a free agent signing play shortstop or second base or whatever, or you go out and you trade for a second baseman or a shortstop, right? But the problem with that is that you're going to probably need a real high impact either shortstop or second baseman to make up the difference of A, not having a legitimate shortstop in Xander Bogaerts, or B, not having that thump and that speed and that defensive ability that you had in Trevor Story. So it's going to have to be a significant shortstop or second base addition, which is probably not coming via the free agent market. So you're going to have to look at trades. And now teams know you are in a bad spot. So not good there. The other option that we have is that you can sort of patch this up internally and hope for the better half of the Trevor Story rehabilitation, right? Having him come back at 4 months or even 4.5 months as opposed to that 5.5, 6 months. And in the meantime, you have Kike Hernandez play shortstop or second base. You have Arroyo fill that other hole. And then you either bring up Duran to start in center field or Cedane Rafaela to play in center field. I think Cedane Rafael is a little ways off of being a legitimate MLB ready player, but you're going to need the defense somewhere, and Jarren Duran's not going to give you the defense, so it's really a toss up there, and that's not exactly the most fantastic scenario either. Either way, all I'm trying to say here is the Red Sox are kind of screwed. I understand that this is not for a full season and you will end up playing in 2023. My biggest problem with this is the Red Sox got off to a really bad start in 2022. They got really hot and then they tapered off a little bit, right? If they had been hot to start the year, we were probably talking about at the bare minimum a winning ball club. We can't go into 2023 again having another month and a half where we're under 500 by 4, 5, 6 games. It's such a hard hole in this division to climb out of, and to have Trevor Story, who was probably going to be your second best player, go down with an injury right now is absolutely worst case scenario, especially with the fact that you do not have a shortstop or a second baseman right now. At the end of the day, is it the end of the world? Kind of, right? We're gonna get him back at some point, but man, these holes on this Red Sox team in the middle of our infield are just gigantic right now. And the only ways to fill them and fill them appropriately is via the trade market. And every team in baseball now knows that you need both a shortstop and a second baseman. At the bare minimum, you need one of them, right? So that's the biggest takeaway in my opinion. Obviously, I hope Trevor Story gets better and has a smooth recovery. That sucks. I'm sure this guy wanted to come out here after having a little bit of a rough year in 2022 and really show Fenway and MLB and really everyone that he can play at the level that he knows he can play at. So for him to go down again must really, really suck. So the human part of me, hey, listen, Trevor Story, get better soon, man. This just really hurts and is not a great way to start the 2023 season. Let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think of all this? What do you think of Trevor Story being injured and is going to be out for the beginning of this Red Sox season? What do you think of all this? Let me know in the comment section down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor. Make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Obviously good, and today, bad. Also, make sure you guys hit the like button on this video as well. Helps these videos out a ton, and it would mean a lot to me. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you tomorrow night, Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, and in the Red Seat.